What's up, guys? I don't even know where to begin. It has been a while. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Twice, I think. Happy Easter. I don't know how many holidays it's been. Seems like it's been a very long time since I've done a video. I've checked the YouTube sometimes to see if anyone has unsubscribed. Just because I haven't posted anything, I would assume people would unsubscribe, but there's only been about 10 people that have unsubscribed. So either you guys don't really check your active subscriptions and prune the list, or you've been waiting for me to post something. So I will give you as much of an update as I can. Which will be probably pretty a lot. A lot. I have been couch surfing for about 3 years now, so the lack of sleep and diet and stuff has sort of taken its toll on my mental acuity, clarity, vocabulary, and stuff like that. So I apologize for my lack of clarity and poor use of English language. I pulled all of my videos just a reminder from that great suggestion years ago in 2015. Someone said, if you speed up the video, it's easier to listen to. I've used that a lot in my own browsing in YouTube. I find it great because someone who has the same, if I listen to someone who talks like me, I'm like, hurry up, man, get to the point. Thing is that my mind doesn't work like that. So right. So somewhere around the end of 2017 or the beginning of 2018, I started noticing vehicles going up and down the road where I was staying, and same people, different vehicles. Some people might think I'm being a schizo, but the thing is, there were other people on that street that, there's only 7 houses on that street, and there's very little traffic usually. So the neighbors and some of the people I was staying with were just as curious and suspicious about it as I was. That went on for a while, and then as I was going to the studio, I noticed there was a Jeep following me, and I was able to get behind it and get a picture of the back of the vehicle. I did get the plate, but wasn't able to run it. That's kind of a long story, but short version is someone in the ex-Scientology network was able to try and run it, and it didn't come up with anything. But the custom shop that had a little placard on there where it had been customized was a place called Poison Spider Customs in Hemet, California. So, and there was a lot of camera gear in each window, and also in the back there was a big, you know, camera, pretty elaborate rig. Also, when I was in Clearwater, there was pictures being taken of uh, me and Brenda. So, and that was not at the event. That was, you know, on the way to the event and leaving the event. Of course, there were pictures being taken at the event. So, when I moved to California, I was staying out there. I just I needed a break from all of it, you know. I think at that point I had been, you know, if you want to say homeless, about as homeless as Oscar the Grouch is. He lives in a trash can. So I had a little 5 months of rest, very much needed. And then I had to come back to handle disability stuff. And I got denied twice. Had to get an attorney. Had to find healthcare solutions. Ended up in New Orleans, and that is where I am now. Got into a doctor. Medicaid's covering everything that I need to make my case. Disability. The disability is based on the leg injury and mental health stuff, PTSD. There was a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder, but that is being kind of disregarded at this point, mainly because you know, I managed to live without medication. I don't have little people talking to me. I don't have you know, anything that would really indicate that I'm having massive problems with schizo symptoms. That being said, I do have a lot of internal dialogue that I fight with constantly, but I tend to think that that's a lot related to the other diagnosis, and you know, I've worked through a lot of that through therapy and stuff, but that doesn't mean that's made it possible for me to go back to work in any normal sense. There's been a lot of family difficulty in this whole almost 4 years now. So it was the end of 2016 whenever I started couch surfing. And that was because of a lot of family and domestic stuff that I'm not really comfortable talking about at this time. Most of you who've tuned in probably know or have an idea of what that involves. But there's also some other stuff that it involves too that is it's not really appropriate for me to talk about at this time, unfortunately. I wish I could. But it doesn't just involve me, so I don't feel comfortable doing that. And I know that sounds a little bit like, well, if it's not, like, why do you have a problem talking about it if it's not involving just you? Because I've talked about so many other things that didn't involve just me. The reason is because it involves the welfare of children, so you know, I'm not going to go there. So, okay, there's so much to talk about. All right. So, when I got denied, I mean, I was, you know, I'd done a lot of the work, you know, the paperwork, getting all the doctor's stuff together. Um, I haven't been employed this whole time, so it's been real hard, real tricky. And part of the reason I haven't been employed is because from some other people I know have gone through this process before, they warned me about making money, because it became a big hassle for them. It took, in some cases, a couple extra years to get their judgment that they needed. And having been through the court systems as much as I have, uh, for other things, and when I was a kid, even when I was a kid, I was familiar with the court system because I was involved in that stuff too. I mean, I wasn't the one in court, but I'm familiar with how the system works, and it's not real efficient. So I didn't work it because I didn't know how much I could make, and I wasn't going to take the chance of me screwing up my own case. When I got to New Orleans and saw an attorney, I found out I could make $1,100 a month without it being a problem, and so I started doing some background work. It's not my real cup of tea. Actors, when I say background, I mean extra work. There's a lot of shooting going on here. Actors, I love all artists, but in the extra world here in New Orleans, there's I don't know. It's not my thing. You sit around on set for 12 hours, you get fed. Sometimes it's good food. Sometimes it's so bad that people got food poisoning. And everyone there, besides me, seems like they're super excited to be there, to be around celebrities. But as you know, in my history, I've been around celebrities, and it doesn't really tickle me in any real way unless I'm able to contribute to the art form. Then it's a whole other story. But as an extra, you're just a paid live breathing mannequin. So I'm fully aware that that's what that is, and so it doesn't really excite me the way it does some people. Just being on set, because I'm used to working production, and so to me, that's the interesting part, is looking at the production and seeing all the different things that are happening on set. That's way more interesting to me than than just being there. I like to watch the audio guys. I like to watch the film crew. I like to watch the director and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. I was just checking. I got a thing to go to tonight. Some live feed on the Discord. Okay. So I started doing some of that. I went back to, I've been going back to see the kids as much as I can. I went back for a Halloween. I went back for some school functions. I went back for Christmas. I was here in August for my son's birthday. But it's a real challenge to be back in Lake Charles for a number of reasons. Some of them I can't talk about, but the relationship that I have with my stepfather is really strained right now, and he's going through a lot of stuff, and so am I. And it's not a real healthy situation for anybody. So it is what it is. I'm taking care of what I need to do. I understand that some people don't feel that it's the right thing to do, but I'm doing what I know is right. And sometimes the right thing is the hard thing to do, and it has definitely been super hard. Ultimately, I think it is the right thing to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. I just, I ran out of juice. I ran out of steam. I ran out of resources. I managed to get my parental rights. It cost me a lot. That was worth every penny. However, afterwards, I didn't have much left to exercise those rights. And rather than go on to kill myself working, not literally, maybe literally, but like my injury on my leg was serious enough that all the doctors were telling me, like if you don't get this taken care of, you're going to end up hurt on the job again. And then a lot of employers will hire someone, especially any kind of job that would give me some longevity and the benefits and everything that I had at the post office with that kind of prior existing injury. And yeah, I need to make sure that it is healed properly, or if I need surgery, which two out of the three doctors said it's not a matter of if, it's when, that I can get it. And at the point that I was at, it would have been paid for the surgery. I don't have that kind of money, so I need some assistance. So as much as that sucks and as painful it's been, that is what I've been doing. That's what I've been pursuing and trying to make sure that it happens. In that meantime, I've spent a lot of that time distracting myself with the the truth, being honest, like the agony of having to go through this, distract myself with things that bring me a little bit of joy or purpose. So with Dale, my buddy at the studio, we've been expanding the studio network. We helped build out and spec out another studio in the Lake Charles area. We added another studio from Seattle from a friend of mine that I met out in LA to the network, and another friend of mine who I've known since, actually he was the first person to ever record me in '94. And he's living in DC now, and he's got a little voiceover studio. So we've pretty much got a studio on each side of the country, and then a couple in the center of the country. Been working on making contacts with people in the video game industry. There's I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to give too many people too many ideas, because we seem to have touched on a nerve here with what we're doing, and so that's exciting. There's nothing remunerative or super a big deal coming out of it yet. There is a potential really awesome project coming up with a developer out in California, but that's still a long ways out. But it's more material and more of a reality than it was a year or a year and a half ago, which is exciting. My role in all of that is to manage the studio networks and to sort of coordinate the efforts from the developers and the studios, and assign work to the different studios in the network, and sort of guide and produce those projects as they come up and deliver them to the developers, as well as develop the network and be sort of the face with the developers and all that sort of stuff. Huge gamer. I'm a huge gamer. I love games, so this is a good fit for me. It keeps me distracted and occupied. Another thing that I did while I was here doing that in New Orleans, I ran into a guy. It's a small world in the entertainment business. I ran into a guy who I worked with 11 years ago. He's a publisher, and he had gotten a band that I was in, that I was representing at the time, some publishing contracts with two productions. They never went through because I couldn't get the artist to sign the clearances, which was very disappointing, because when I got here and I had this meeting with this guy, I got a much better, clearer picture of how much we lost by not doing that, and it was quite depressing, and it took me about 3 days to sort of get a grip on myself, because that was a lot of money for the efforts of a group of people's passion that they poured into this music. It just didn't happen, and the unfortunate truth about it was I got a lot of validation from it, because this person that I worked with 11 years ago was getting out of the publishing business, because that happens all too frequently, and it translates for him into lost money. So he is sort of transitioning into other venture capital things. After that, I realized that I had put a lot of my own effort and talent and experience up to bat for other people, and never really gave myself that opportunity. So in a sort of I don't know, sort of like a feverish way, I put together a lot of my material that I've collected over years and years and years, and I decided to go visit a couple of producers here, I just really wanted them to hear something that I did, and tell me if it was worth doing. I wasn't going to these studios with the intention of talking about making a record. That's the honest to God truth. And as a producer myself, and having the experience that I do, I was pretty well aware of what to look for in terms of their body language and just what they say, and to be there when they hear what I was going to play for them, and hear their real-time reactions, gives me a much better finger on the pulse of whether or not they're looking to just get a project in their studio so they can get some money in. Because the truth is, with the recording industry, producers are desperate for artists to produce. They need money. It might sound crazy, but it is true. Anyone, you walk into a studio and say you want to make a record, and they'll say, "Yeah, we can make a record." Because they're just that desperate to book the time. Studios are expensive, and they're expensive to operate. They're expensive to keep running. Once it's all paid for, it's all profit, except you got to keep the place open. And that's the problem with a lot of studios, is that they have a hard time keeping the rent paid, or the insurance, whatever the case may be. So I went out in this sort of fever to sort of pretty much decide for myself whether or not my music was worth doing. I've been, I was feeling at that time like that time has passed. And I made 2 appointments in 1 week, and I went and saw the first producer and let him hear some jazz stuff. And like I said, without any talk of making a record, just wanted to get their opinion on something. So those 2 meetings went good. More so the second one. Because the jazz stuff, it's more, you have to do, as an artist, you have to do a lot of preparation so that you can go into a session and basically put the charts in front of people. Whether you're bringing the people or whether they're hiring studio guys, you still need to just have the charts and all that stuff prepared. A lot of my jazz stuff needs to be notated. So it's not that first meeting wasn't great. It was. He was, very interested in getting something going. But the second meeting is a little more doable as far as the music. In other words, I don't need a whole bunch of charts. I don't have to write out a lot of notated stuff. That turned into this last 3 months of sending emails back and forth where he's listening to the music, and he kept wanting to hear more and more and more. And finally, he sent me a track list of what he would consider to be a really good collection of songs for an album. all that was really validating because, as I said, I've spent more time helping others and helping their artistic vision come true, and at I was feeling, and still sometimes do feel, like that effort that I put in was not matched by some of the artists themselves. And the self-deprecating nature of my mind, and programming at times, which I'm still working to correct, sort of led me to believe that my stuff wasn't really worth doing that for. Not even using my own skills to help my own self. And I've learned, maybe late, maybe right on time, I don't know, but I have learned that that's not true. There's some musicians and producers that I really respect, and that I'm actually quite stunned that they feel that this music should be produced and released, and it's pretty important. So that leads me to where I'm going to leave off for this video. I guess I'm going to make another video at some point. I'm going to be back to begging for money on YouTube, I suppose, to get my record funded. So I'll give you the option right now to click unsubscribe if you don't want to hear it. The album track list that he sent back was pretty shocking to me, because when I have all this material, and I've had it for years, wasn't really able to visualize or see or hear what was possible with it. I write in a lot of different styles, a lot: country, jazz, pop, rock, blues, heavy metal, orchestral compositions, strange electronic stuff, sound effects. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff floating around in my hard drives, and so it's all, but it's also in my head. It's also all around here. So, and it's never been put down on a physical medium. So I think with it a lot, and also since there's all of that, such variety, I don't tend to think about. I can't narrow things down like someone else can, who's a professional, who's got years of experience and a lot of albums, 40, 50 albums behind them. And when I heard the track list, it really kind of I blew my own self away, because it was almost like I didn't write it, because of the way that it was set up, the track list, and listening to it, it sounded very well thought out. And it was all stuff that I wrote. It was just, I needed someone to say, this is it. This is a collection of some of your vision. It's not my entire vision. I have a lot of stuff in my head and on these hard drives, but to hear it in that way really changed my perspective a lot, and now it's a very important project for me. Of course, there's a lot of other stuff going on in my life, but it's my aim and goal to get this funded and done. We've got some tentative dates in April. He's also, this is a very professional facility. The rates are extremely cut. Like, this is a studio that probably has a rate of $2,500 a day, but I'm getting it for $500 a day. It's probably going to take about 2 weeks to get done, which comes out to about $7,000. And most of the difficult part of the recording process is going to be done in the first 2 to 4 days. Probably more like 2. I'm able to bring a drummer in from Lake Charles who's very professional. He's the only guy I could really think of in my own personal network who could come into a studio like this and be cool under pressure. This guy's played with rock and roll legends and stuff. So I have confidence in his playing and his ability to work with other professionals, especially professional producers, because they'll ask you to do things on the spot. And believe it or not, small to medium time musicians will give really fantastic producers a hard time because they get stuck in what they think their music should be. And when that happens, the producers, in my experience, I've only worked with 3 really big producers. But in my experience, when that happens, like whoever that person is that's giving them that trouble, it's over. It gets done. They either leave or the producer's done. So this my friend Trey is the only guy I could really bring in with the 100% confidence that he's going to do whatever it is we need to do, and I'm in the same position. They're my songs, but I haven't been able to produce my own shit, so I'm leaving it into his hands and trusting him to do it. Now, that being said, he also is very much into the style that I write in this particular instance. He's in kind of an influential 80s, 90s band called the Afghan Wigs, and they're a very unique style. Not everyone's into it. It's kind of alternative rock, alternative indie style stuff. Some of the lyrics are very poetic and not always real direct and forward. They leave a lot open to interpretation for the listener. A very artistic, poetic style, and so that was important to me too, is finding a producer that actually likes the style that I'm writing, because a lot of producers, as I said, will take your project regardless of whether it's their thing or not. But in his case, he's got a long history of similar projects that he's done. He's kind of picky about what he does, so I just need to get the time paid for, and he's being very gracious on that. I mean, this could easily, for someone else, be a $30,000-$40,000 record.